Next, on the agenda is the high school gym floor bid.
Yeah, I put in information about the new gym floor for the high school. The original, well, that floor that's in there currently is the original floor. So it's been there since what, 64, 65. It is getting there. From the bleachers, it probably looks fine, but underneath it's starting to deteriorate. Long time ago, there was actually termite damage on the north end of that, and so when we redid some of the stage work and put in the weight room, we found there was quite a bit of termite damage that had got into the floor at one point in time. Was already there, and not to mention the way they built those floors, they'll start to fail, and that's what we're seeing now is kind of the failure of the floor.
Did you say that they're experiencing dead spots?
There are dead spots. We're starting to have areas around the middle. We have like some of our standards and stuff. The boards are starting to actually pop. We've already had a company come in, try to put some of those back down. It's just at the life. We contacted a company we work through a cooperative called Greenbush Cooperative, where companies bid. And so we work with a company called Enterprises. They came out, kind of explored some of it. This is probably the number one gym floor that they're taking out right now is from that age. And so we have a bid to replace the floor. I went ahead and kind of put that in there. And obviously, this was dependent upon the board approving it, but we wanted to be able to get kind of on the docket. So that's why you do see my signature in there from a couple of days ago, but they know that the board had to still approve it, but we weren't able to get on the docket without getting at least a PO and saying we were at least interested in getting on the docket. So that's why you see that there. But you can see the total cost will be about $176,000, $177,000 for us to redo it. And it'll take them probably about 4 to 5, maybe 6 weeks to do. Because they'll have to come in. And the first thing we'll actually do is remove bleachers. That's coming up. But we'll actually remove the bleachers. They'll come in. They'll have to tear out the whole floor. They'll come in, and then I kind of put what the subfloor will look like. The new floor. It's actually much better for our athletes as well. It's got a little bit more cushion, got a little bit more give. Ours currently is pretty well like playing on concrete. So. Anyways, actually it came back a little less than I thought it would come back. I was thinking we were going to pay about $225,000, $250,000 to get the floor replaced, but it's the right time for what the next topic is going to be, which is replace the bleachers and go ahead and do the floor at this point in time.
Dr. Robinson, do they project, I know that that's not a science, do they project a lifespan? I mean, are we going to get 60 years out of this?
You're going to get at least 50 years like we did this one, and maybe even longer, just the way it's set up and built.
Do you anticipate any slab leveling necessary?
They may have to do some with the concrete.
Yeah. Cracked under there, we don't know.
We don't know what that's going to look like underneath, but it is pretty thick concrete. I can tell you that just from when we had to put it in beams. And they had to dig down when we built the weight room and built the mezzanine area. The concrete is pretty thick, but there might be having to be some concrete shaved, cut, and things like that to get it level. So
You said 4 to 5 weeks. When do you think that this would start?
their anticipated goal and why we went ahead and kind of we were going to try to do this would be mid-July. So it's going to be pushing it for the first part of the season. Most likely volleyball would have to start in another gym, middle school, intermediate, and once we get this, if we decide to go forward with the bleachers, which is coming up, it'd probably be right up to that last part of August. So there could be some games that are not played at the very beginning of the season in there. I don't want to sound like a doomsayer because we could be done by the middle of August, but I also don't want to be like, hey, we're going to be done in the middle of August and it's actually Labor Day.
Is there a reason they couldn't start in June?
They're already on the docket for other courts, other places. So yeah, we were pretty well going to be their last project for the summer. So I've already spoken to Matt Wayne, our activities director, and we'll make arrangements if we have to. We'll probably most likely, because the intermediate schools, I think an extra row or two of bleachers. We'll probably move volleyball to that if we had to. I mean, it worked well for middle school. We could go to the middle school as well. I mean, not that we don't get big crowds for volleyball, but we do get nice crowds for volleyball, but I think we can make it work for a couple weeks if we have to do that. So, I mean, like I said, this is a couple weeks for a 50, 60-year-old floor that we'll have, so.
And you know I'm gonna ask, it says dragon logo.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be more generic as far as just saying Cameron Dragons. Like do some writing across the middle and make it a little bit bigger and kind of more of a Cameron Dragons instead of just a dragon head or a C, because we're never gonna not be the Cameron Dragons. So I think we're looking at, and honestly, that is the part that you can go back and redo. I mean, once the floor is down, I mean, even the current floor, we've redone once since I was here, where we came in and we sanded it all down and we did new lines and new logos and all of that. So, you know, that could be something down the road that somebody could easily fix.
Is this the only bid we got?
This is because they actually bid through the Greenbush Cooperative. And so that, like, if you look up there, it tells you like how much, you know, they bid per like square foot for this. And then what you can see is like the extras that we would pay for them, you know, like some of the line painting, stuff like that. But for the floor itself and all those pieces, the bid is already a good bid from the cooperative. We've actually, not that cooperative, but we used other cooperatives like when we did the high school track. When we had that surface, and then we had it resprayed last summer. We actually did that to a cooperative.
What does that mean?
It just means that companies can put in their bid, like, hey, I've got the Kansas City Cooperative, or the St. Louis Cooperative, or the Greenbush Cooperative, or the MSBA, I think, has some cooperatives. Companies put in prices and say, this is what we'll put a price in at, and so you have different companies put the price in, and this was the best one that Greenbush said for flooring.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
This is actually a good price for flooring. I honestly thought that we would pay $225, $250, or maybe more. So
Did we explore the extended warranty option? It just mentions it, but it doesn't say.
we will. I just, like I said, we hadn't explored anything that I literally signed it to say, hey, we want to be at least put on the docket based on the board's decision. So that's as far as we went. So.
Do I have a motion to accept the gym floor bid? Moved by Ms. Peck, second by Ms. Early. Is there any other discussion about the gym floor? I have a piece of my old high school gym floor that I played on for years.
Yeah, we talked about actually, I mean, we're not gonna obviously recur any major costs, but we have talked about cutting up the floor, and selling pieces to, you know, basketball, volleyball, maybe even wrestling, whatever it may be that would have competed on the floor. Like I said, huh?
Or just give it to me.
Yeah. It's really not. I mean, we're not gonna make any money off of it. No. We might be able to use them for a fundraiser for a group or organization, but you're right, we're not gonna make any percentage getting money off of it.
The basketball players could do that to come. Anyway, it is kind of, although I say I have that piece of flooring, I'm not exactly certain where it is at the moment, but I do know my parents got it for me. So, any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Seeing none, the motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the bleachers.
Yeah, bleachers kind of, I wouldn't say started this process, but to a degree a little bit, because our bleachers have been cantankerous at best the last couple of years. I know I've said it before, we're kind of on our last leg with those, but we're probably less than our last leg. We're really at the point where anytime we pull those out right now, we may never get those back in. Just because we've had a lot. About a year ago, we spent a couple $1,000s and had this company, Hartman Seating, actually come up and do a bunch of work just so we could get it to where we could have graduation if we had to, which we ended up having to last year have graduation in the gym. just to get those where we could actually pull them out, because we couldn't even get them out. So, and then with it, when we started looking at the flooring is in bad shape. But the seating, as you can see, same thing as part of the Greenbush Cooperative. They give a bid on this. We have used this company before, Heartland Seating. They're actually who did all of the middle school bleachers when we had the new building. And they've actually been the ones servicing all of our intermediate school anytime we have problems with them. So they're probably the major manufacturer for bleachers in pretty well the Midwest area for seating. They do a lot of schools. So again, kind of put us down so we can get on there. They will probably be in as early as soon as graduation's over, if we would have to have it inside and start taking apart the bleachers. Now their turnaround is quite a bit quicker. Once the floor is done and they can get in there, which they do a lot of work with 2 companies to work together, it's about a 5 or 6 day turnaround for us to put the bleachers up. Couple things with the new bleachers, kind of go with what they call blackout. So the bleachers will be all black, but then also in like the walkways, instead of being like a light gray, will be all black as well. So the whole thing will be black and will be capped with gold on the end. I think it'll look really sharp. I think it'll kind of set everything off in the bleachers. And honestly, when people are sitting on it, you don't see all the mixed colors and you don't see the CHS that's in it unless the bleachers are put up anyway. The other thing is these bleachers are a little bit different in the sense that they'll be steeper. They'll still meet all your requirements and all that, but your bleachers right now are probably only at about 10 foot. These will be 13 and a half on the home side. So they'll actually be taller, a little bit steeper angle looking at the floor, which I think will be better. Although that will cause a little bit of a problem because our Home of the Dragons and our big logo on that side is going to be about 4 feet covered up. So we'll have to do some repainting on that side and figure out what we're going to do to redo that. So, which we're redoing some of that anyways this summer. So.
Sorry, what are the vinyl end curtains? Is that just to keep people from walking?
Yeah, so when you walk in the bleachers, you can kind of like see underneath our bleachers right now. Now there'll be kind of a vinyl curtain that we can put our logo or put Cameron Dragons on. And then you won't have people like running back and forth underneath the bleachers. And then it doesn't look so, I'd say unsightly, but you're not looking under the bleachers is the first thing you see when you walk in the bleachers, when you walk in the gym.
That's where I hung out as a little girl.
So, under the bleachers, so.
What's a girl to do for?
So, yeah. Now, probably not the best place to hang out. And,
Back then it was.
yeah. So, yeah. But anyway, so like I said, we went to the same cooperative, Greenbush. I felt pretty confident. Actually, the gentleman I've worked with, we work with a lot with the middle school, and we're working with them on the intermediate. And like I said, I'd like to see it look brand new, but the floor probably, like you said, the floor doesn't look bad when you look at it. It's just what's happening underneath it. But the new bleachers will look very, very nice.
And the walls will be refreshed.
These were, according to one of our teachers and according to Heartland Seating, who actually put in the last set of bleachers, our current set was put in 97. So they're 26 years old. They should have probably been placed 5 or 6 years ago. And we waited just a little bit longer to see what the condition of the floor was going to be. So
I move to accept the bid for the new bleachers.
Moved by Ms. Peck, seconded by Ms. Lockridge. Any other discussion? I did want to point out there's 3 sets of stairs going up now, so that stair arrangement's a little different, access to the seating's a little different.
it is. It's going to be a little bit different because right now we have 2, so you have 3 sections, but we'll have 3 sections is how we had to do it for the handicap and the extra seating. So you'll actually have 4 sections on the home side. I don't remember if that's the same on the visitor side or not, but
I can't remember. But, and then, yeah, we will have definitely accessible areas as well.
3 on the other side, so, where we only had 2.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the bleacher bid, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Seeing none, the motion passes unanimously.